Hey everyone, today we're taking a look at a very interesting limited edition. It's the LE of Neptunia Riders vs Dogoos. It's called the Magazine Edition, which is available from the Idea Factory store. It isn't super packed with stuff compared to other Neptunia limited editions, but it is quite a bit cheaper, and in my opinion, the things it does come with are very well thought out and high in quality. This was provided to me by Idea Factory, just so you know. As always, thank you very much. But also, as always, my review is my honest opinion. Just so you know, there is a PS4, PS5, and Nintendo Switch version of the Magazine Edition. I'm showing you the PS5 version. The only difference is the game itself, and the Nintendo Switch version does not come with the swimsuit outfits. Let's start. So the LE was split into two padded envelopes when it was shipped my way. One with the game and an exclusive trading card. The other envelope housed another envelope that has all the LE bits in it. Not to be critical right at the start, but instead of a generic iffy online store envelope, something more bespoke would have been a nice touch. That way, when it's all tucked away in there, you can see what game it is, instead of just seeing that it's, an Idea Factory thing. Inside, there's the magazine, which is an art book, a 5-poster set, 28 sticker set, and an official soundtrack. Just so you know, the DLC is emailed in the form of redeemable codes. As you can see, there is no box, so I can't complain this time about how the game doesn't go in the box. I guess I could complain about how it's not in the envelope, but, it's flexible enough that you could just put it in if you wanted to. Here's the game. Looks pretty good. I like the cover art. It's not too cluttered. You can easily distinguish all the separate elements. I don't know why, but the whirlwind of doggos in the background is kind of amusing. The back, which has a tendency to just have too much crap on it, looks pretty good too. Since there's only one language, there's actually enough space between everything, and even the screenshots are recognizable as images rather than just a collection of random dots of colors. We'll look inside in just a second. Let's go over to the LE stuff for now. Everything is shrink wrapped to a rather thick piece of cardstock, so it doesn't get mangled during shipping, I imagine. Here's the stickers. I didn't open it because I'm not sure if I want to open it or not yet, but these are actually very well designed. I'll overlay something so you can see the designs. If you're a car guy, motorcycle enthusiast, or just like racing, then you may recognize how these stickers are parodies of what you might find on cars or bikes. I particularly like the oval one and the rectangular one that looks like a Japanese team sticker that, maybe a drift or motorcycle team would have in the 90s, or I guess now as well. Speaking of parody, the Nepbike magazine. It's actually an art book made to look like a magazine. In fact, I'm almost 100% sure it's supposed to look like Racers, a Japanese magazine about motorcycles. The name has a similar font, and you can also see how, with how everything's placed, how it just looks like a Racers magazine. They even got the volume number on the right spot. Inside, we got the usual character profiles, illustrations, and that sort of thing that you usually see in art books. But at the back, there's also a handful of short stories, which is interesting. Admittedly, I haven't read through those yet, but they exist. The back cover is actually quite nice too, though if it were a real magazine, there'd probably be an ad. I'm not sure if it's too much to ask, that they design an ad or something like that would fit in the Neptunia universe, but anyways, just saying. The quality is excellent. It actually feels like a real proper magazine, like a good one, not one of those thin, staple-bound ones, but rather those that have like glue binding. The cover pages are also thick and glossy. It's very well done. There's several posters too. They are also very high quality. The printing is excellent. You can even admire the line work up close without it looking pixely or too smooth and blobby. If the magazine has GSM, the posters have DPI. The paper has a matte finish. The only complaint is that there are folds. I'd imagine you would still see them if they're framed, but I understand that they couldn't just send these out in tubes without raising the price too much. The soundtrack does not come in a jewel case, which some people don't like. I think this is potentially better for instances such as this. I'm not a fan of jewel cases where the cover is just a single sheet of paper. I always think that just feels cheap. Remember, CD cases are meant to hold booklets, so if there's just one thin sheet, just rattling around in there, it feels cheesy. The sleeve is well designed and it feels nice and high quality. The imagery is nice. The inside has those chibi designs we see on the trading card. The disc has a cool design too. I like that it actually doesn't use an illustration we've seen before. It just has its own unique look. In terms of music, it's an interesting blend of various things. It sounds like a Neptunia soundtrack, but there's also hints of Mario Kart. There's even one song that has a bit of a Eurobeat thing going on with the lead synth. Seems all relatively fitting. In terms of audio quality, let me say I'm glad it's a CD, so it is a lossless source, but the mastering is yet again subpar. There's an attempt at a bit of dynamic range. Songs have noticeably louder and quieter parts, but the peaks are cut off because of brick walling. I understand that as background music it makes sense to have less dynamic range, so, that game sounds don't drown out the quiet parts. But this is a soundtrack on a CD, there's no game sounds here, so why do that here? Interestingly, the peaks never hit 0 decibels, it's backed off exactly 0.936 decibels. You can clearly see that there is a gap there where they backed it off. I don't expect them to ever properly master Neptunia soundtracks since this is, standard practice in the music industry for this sort of music, but I'll keep mentioning it every time until the sound engineers are actually allowed to do their job properly. We're back to the game now. Let's just actually open it. That makes sense, right? Inside is the disc with the cover image. It's just the same as the cover, except the quality is worse. The cover is reversible, but I think it's best left as is. The illustration is clearly meant to be viewed as a spread and not one half at a time, hence why the soundtrack cover is done the way it is. And there you go, that is Neptunia Riders vs Dogoos, the magazine edition. A very interesting limited edition. I really like the motorcycle theme. I'm actually not really a motorcycle kind of guy. I'm much more of a car enthusiast, but I do appreciate the motorsports theme, and I am quite the motorsports fan. All the items are of high quality and the LE isn't bogged down by random low quality throwaway items. One of the most important things about LEs is that you feel like you're getting something special, and I think that's been achieved here. After all, I want to collect nice things and not have a shelf full of tat. The review of the game is coming up. If you're subscribed, you'll see that video in your feed shortly. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.